Last night, the president announced his intent to send thousands of new soldiers and billions of American dollars back to Afghanistan, where we have been struggling for 16 years. The president promised victory, didn't clearly define what that is or how the strategy would succeed where the previous two presidents have not succeeded. Interestingly, the president's toughest critics, like Senator Lindsey Graham, loved the speech.
I'm proud of the fact that President Trump made a national security decision, not a political decision. I am very pleased with this plan, and I am very proud of my president. President Trump has the smarts and the moral courage to listen to his generals and take their advice rather than going the political way.
So we made Lindsey Graham happy. Luke Coffey is an Army vet and works at the Heritage Foundation. He joins us tonight. Luke, thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So you hear this all the time, like a lot of really dumb ideas that are never examined critically. You hear them repeated again and again. It was wise to listen to the generals and not make this a political decision. But aren't foreign policy decisions by their nature, all executive decisions, are political decisions? We elect the president on certain promises that he makes because this is a democracy. And so there's nothing wrong with taking into account what the public wants when you make a decision like this, is there?
No, of course not. There's nothing wrong taking into account what the public wants. There's nothing wrong with, as a political operative, taking into account what your base wants. But right. As commander-in-chief, he has to serve the interests of the nation as a whole. And he has a national security team. He has an armed forces that have years and decades of experience that offers the advice. Now, at the end of the day, these generals and these advisors only advise. The commander-in-chief decides. And that's what we saw last night.
Well, they have decades of experience of not winning the war in Afghanistan. I mean, I guess I'm not, I don't be mean or anything, and I respect, obviously, the men and women who are fighting over there. But I spent more than 30 years living in America with no American troops in Afghanistan, and I remember it as a pretty nice place to live. Like, it's okay not to occupy Afghanistan. You can have a successful country without occupying Afghanistan. Why do we feel that there's no alternative but to occupy Afghanistan?
Well, it boils down to national security, right? And where Trump has departed from previous administrations is that he's changed his rhetoric about nation building.
Right.
So this is very important, especially for those who have served in Afghanistan, who want to be serious about the national security aspects of it and kind of jettison some of these lofty nation building goals that we had for the past 16 years. For me, the goal in Afghanistan is to get that country to a point where it's able to manage its internal security by itself without tens of thousands of Western troops on the ground. This is the goal. Nothing more, nothing less. All these ideas about strong central government, direct democracy, building schools, paving roads, these things are nice things to aspire to, but these are neither the reasons why we went into Afghanistan nor the reasons why we should remain. And I think President Trump was very clear on this.
Is there sincerely any hope at all that with 4,000 additional troops or advisors, whatever we're calling them, that we're going to, in the foreseeable future, get the Afghan military to a place where it can take care of its own affairs, whatever that means?
I would say there is. And why I would say this is, a lot of times, a lot of the criticism that we're hearing about President Trump's strategy is a result of an old way of thinking about Afghanistan. This isn't 2001. This isn't 2009 when President Obama announced his new strategy.
Right.
During that time, the U.S. was leading combat operations. At the peak, we had 140,000 U.S. and coalition troops leading combat operations. The Afghans were supporting us. Now in 2017, the Afghans are leading operations and we are supporting them. So these additional troops can help the Afghans, help train the Afghans, mentor the Afghans, assist the Afghans, but it is their war, it is their country. We're not there to win it for them, we're there to help them win it, so Afghanistan doesn't revert back to the 1990s how it was, or like Iraq in 2010 when Obama needlessly and recklessly pulled out without leaving a residual training force behind.
So I know that you're knowledgeable and sincere, and I definitely want to believe you. I really do. But let me just ask this sort of macro question. Yeah. So you just had this election where voters really did vote against engagements like this. They voted against wars like this. And yet again, for the I don't know how many times in a row, we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing bombing of Syria, more troops to Afghanistan. It almost seems like the American people have no say at all in their foreign policy.
Well, the mission in Afghanistan, like I said, is not a day-to-day U.S.-led combat operation. This is a training, advising, and assisting mission to the Afghan armed forces. Look, I would completely agree with you, and I would not be here tonight defending this new strategy if President Trump would have said, we're redeploying 140,000 U.S. ground troops to take over combat operations. This is not the way forward. This is not how you would be successful in a war, in an insurgency like we're facing in Afghanistan. It has to be the Afghans that do it, and we should help them along the way. I mean, Tucker, we have dozens of military training missions around the world. We should start treating Afghanistan similar to these. This is about helping the Afghans, not doing it for them.
Can I just ask one last question? I always hear people say, we need to teach the Afghans how to fight. It seems like that's the one thing they know how to do. Nobody doubts the ability of your average Pashtun with an AK-47 to fight.
Without a doubt.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
What exactly are we teaching them? I'm missing this.
Well, soldiering skills, basic, working as a unit, working as a team. You have to be able to work as a cohesive unit on a tactical level to fight an insurgency. So this is about improving their security and improving their ability to deliver security to their people.
Okay. If everything you say is true, I will take you out to dinner and we can celebrate, because I want it to be true. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Well, after smashing statues of Confederate soldiers, the violent left is now destroying monuments to Christopher Columbus.